Dear students, here I will be critically analyzing the Act Third of the play Arms and the Man by George Bernard Shaw. In the next future sessions, I will be discussing the summary and the important events of the scene of the act session by session. Here, in Act 3 of the play of Arms and the Man, Act 3 performs several functions that the denouncement of the play in which all the complications and conflicts are resolved usually serves. The relationship between Sergius and Raina breaks off. Luca and Sergius and Bluntschli and Raina form new relationships. To this extent, the play draws upon the structure of popular 19th century British dramatic forms such as the farce as well and the well-made play. The play, however, goes beyond the limitation of traditional dramatic structure and achieves its serious purpose of breaking down romantic notions and exposing some of the characters as they get rid of false and pretentious poses. At the beginning of act, Raina is holding on her notion of higher love. She tells Mr. Bluntschli, I want to be quite perfect with Sergius. No meanness, no smallness, no deceit. My relation to him is the one really beautiful and noble part of my life. Raina is annoyed with Bluntschli for narrating the story of his stay in her room to his friend, who in turn passed it on to Sergius and Major Petkov. She adds that luckily they are not aware that she is the lady in question and that it was in her room that Bluntschli had stayed. She is sure that if Sergius comes to know of it, he will challenge Bluntschli to a duel and kill him. At this, Bluntschli, with typical good humor, tells her that it would be best not to tell Sergius the whole story. Raina asks him to take the matter seriously and to understand that it causes her great pain to deceive Sergius or to conceal anything from him, for her relationship with Sergius is really beautiful and noble. She claims that she has lied only twice in her life, both for Bluntschli's sake. Bluntschli knows she is not telling the truth and says, I quote, When you get into that noble attitude and speak in that thrilling voice, I admire you. But I find it impossible to believe a single word you say, unquote. This remark leads to a very important moment in the play. She points to herself incredulously, meaning, I quote Raina here, I, Raina Petkov, tell lies, unquote. He meets her gaze unflinchingly. She suddenly sits down beside him and adds, with a complete change of manner from the heroic to the familiar, unquote, I quote, How did you find me out? Unquote. Raina here begins to throw off her romantic mask and discard her noble pose. She presents her true self to Mr. Bluntschli and this becomes the basis for true understanding between them. Raina admits to Bluntschli that from childhood onwards she had adopted the noble attitude and thrilling voice and got everybody to believe her. I quote Raina here, You know, I always gone on like that. I mean, the noble attitude and the thrilling voice I did believe when I was a tiny child to my nurse. She believed in it. I do it before my parents. They believe in it. I do it before Sergius. He believes in it. Unquote. She has always been assuming the noble attitude to impress people. As a child, she deceived her nurse in this manner. Her parents are deceived by her poses. Sergius too is taken in by her poses and pretensions and believes what she tells him. At this, bluntly says that Sergius himself assumed that such poses, and therefore it is not surprising that he easily believes her. Reina is worried that now that Bluntschli has found her out, understood her true nature behind the mask, he would despise her. She is pleased to hear that he is her infatuated admirer. Sergius also finds all his false ideals collapsing before him. In Act 2 itself, he had started questioning the tactics of the military leadership and the soldier's profession. In Act 3, on hearing about Bluntschli's friend who was burnt alive, he exclaims, "Oh, war, war, the dream of patriots and heroes, a fraud, Bluntschli, a hollow sham like love." I quote, unquote. Just as his notions of heroic glory on the battlefield are shattered, his romantic ideal of higher love also turns out to be hollow. Raina realizes that Sergius has been flirting with Luca and remarks indignantly, I quote, "Oh, what sort of god is this I have been worshipping?" Unquote. While Sergius watches, I unquote, with sardonic enjoyment of her disenchantment, I unquote. Just as Raina found her true self beneath her mask, she discovers what Sergius is truly like beneath his pose. Sergius has been addressing her reverentially as my queen and my saint, and treating her with holy awe upon till this point now calls her names and taunts her. The dramatist thus demonstrates the hollowness of romantic love. The true nature of all the characters are revealed through their encounters with each other. In fact, they learn to see themselves as they truly are beyond false pretensions. Bluntschli emerges as typical Shaven hero who gowned by the head, not by the not by the heart. His cool-headedness is something that even Sergius admires. In Act 1, Shaw presents characters who are caught up in falsified notions of romantic love and of military glory. In Act 2, the collapse of these ideals begins and the process is brought to a conclusion in Act 3, where the characters throw off their affected poses. Thank you.